Hey y'all, what's everybody up to? It's Sunday night. I'm just out here in the shop messing around on a few projects. Ooh, got some shiny stuff there. I was watching some of y'all's YouTube videos, but got my good old Yingling here and checking out the replay from my Tigers playing this weekend. I'm born and raised a Clemson fan, so and I'm from South Carolina. But anyway, I'm just kind of chronicling some things I'm doing here. Kind of do it for myself. If anybody else is interested, that's pretty cool. If you watch any of my other videos, one of my hobbies is building this Mustang I've been working on for a long time. Kids, they will extend that timeline for you, whatever you're working on. That's what I've learned. I used to do things really quickly, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. So, Mama's giving me some free time this Sunday evening while she is giving Mr. Liam a bath. But yeah, that's important. If you guys have kids or any of that stuff, man, trade back and forth. It's like a bartering system. I'll give you an hour if you give me an hour. No, I'm joking, but we give each other plenty of time to hang out and have fun. So this is what I like to have fun doing. So anyway, I was out here tonight trying to get this motor finished up so I can put it in the car. So the last thing I got to do before this goes into the car is finish up the oiling system. And then the rest of the stuff, like, I'm sure you're like, what the hell is this? There's most of your motor's missing. There's only two things and they're just in the house. They're out here, but I just got to install them. Is that front timing cover, and it's nothing more than bolts and a gasket that's already installed, and the actual turbo headers, which my lovely wife is fixing up. She's coating them and wrapping them, and she loves it. She's so good. The stuff's like art, so I'll let her have fun with that, because Lord knows I can't. All right, so been building this motor for a while, and it's going to see some pretty good horsepower. I don't know, crank 1,500 or so. So it's important to focus on little things like the oil. I guess that's kind of a big thing. Anywho, so tonight what I'm out here doing is installing a few things that I've been fabbing up and welding and cutting this weekend. First thing I guess would be this. This is a windage tray. So I won't get too nerdy on you, but you can see the crank in there. And what this tray does is kind of separate the crank from the rest of the oil in the sump of the pan and keeps all these activities that are happening down there at many thousands of RPMs down to a minimum. So keeps the oil from splashing on the crank and what you call like frothing up, right? Like when you're whipping up scrambled eggs and gets all them bubbles in it. Yeah, you don't want that in your engine. Especially a high performance engine. My Nissan, probably not a big deal, but just helps with keeping everything lubed, all the oil down the bottom of the sump and not whipping up the crank. And these aren't necessarily good for a whole bunch of horsepower, but when you're supplying 2 turbos with oil, big 4-valve heads, everything else, it's good to have the oiling system spot on. So I guess this is probably as good as we're going to get with a dry sump setup. But anyhow, without going into all that, got this. Now this I just picked up online on Summit Racing. I had to fab up my oil pickup tube. Had to do a bunch of crazy stuff to it to get it to fit. And then it's not exactly for this engine. And then I've got a custom oil pan. So I'll go into that. So, stock this thing would sit just like it is, but that's not going to work for us. So I've made... probably can't see it too well, but I've had to fab that up, or a good portion of it. It's a factory pickup tube spacer, but I've made it longer and got the piece of got it threaded inside for the bolt I'm going to use and everything. So that's what I've been working on this afternoon. So there's all that. Now it's a little chilly in the shop. Like I said, I got my heat in, but There's my gas valve. So I still got to get the propane set up. So it's just a little cold tonight, and I didn't feel like putting on gasket material like RTV. I figured I'd do it next weekend when I got the heat rolling. So the next piece to go in. Aha. Oh. I know what some of you guys are going to say. I know what that is. Oil pan, right? Now, there's a bunch of companies that make these oil pans, right? 9, 7 quart, and all this other stuff. I could not tell you what this one is. I'm going to guess it adds an additional 2.5 quarts of capacity. But we made this. It's pretty cool, huh? I can't weld worth a damn. And I just kind of added some engine enamel spray paint on it. I mean, you could see where I kind of dimpled it doing some different things, but got that all in. And I'll flip it over in a second. My claim to fame will be these two. Like, what the hell are these? These are dash 10 fittings that we welded on the front. They're going to be drain backs for the turbo. You got to feed the turbo with oil, and then you got to have a way to get it back in to the motor. So they're going to drain right in the front because that's where the turbos are going to sit. And, well, I can't paint very well, but so let me see if I can flip this thing over here and show you. It started life as a stock oil pan. I think I'm going to weld up. There was what they call a scraper, or kind of a factory version of a windage tray, if you will, in here. And I drilled out the spot welds and got it to pry right out. There's just some deep indentations right there. So I think I'm just going to weld, fill those and just grind them a little bit. That'll only take me a few minutes, but I don't know if you can see some of the activities going on down there. So a little bit of flash rust just from that steel, so I'll clean that up. But, oh boy. Let's see if we can do this. I saw YouTube had a video editor now, which I'm going to guess by the jerkiness some of you wish I would use. So let's try. Okay. We just need to look. Success. So that's what it will look like for the most part. And yeah, it looks a little funny. Probably I've got that stud way in. Or, oh, no, yeah. That one probably needs to go in further. Yeah, it's very loose. So I just put some studs in. And there's also, that's the back of the crank. I just put a new, just put a new seal in this thing. This plate's a little dirty. Doesn't matter. I mean, you're never going to see it anyway. But this plate goes in the back of the motor here. You can kind of see how it's that same shape. That's the rear main seal. For some of you small block Chevrolet and Ford guys, if you remember the old motors. That's where the rear main is. You can see where you use the grease for assembly. So that'll go back there. And there's 2 more holes that get studded, but yeah. That's pretty cool, huh? I think so. I'm excited about it. I got a little drain plug right there, but other than that, I'll button this up, next weekend, and she's almost ready to go in the car. It's a huge motor, man. Modular Ford motors are huge. What did we build? Go back in my videos. We built a small block Ford 331 last year, and this thing dwarfed it. And this is a 331, 5.4 liter, base engine. Bored over a little bit, but yeah, cool. Anyway, video's already way too long, but just wanted to kind of keep a diary, if you will, of what I've been doing and all the stuff that, little things that probably get lost when I try to think back to myself what I'm done. But all right, y'all be good. I'm going to finish watching my video here, enjoy the last of my beer, and go inside and have some dinner. Good night, y'all.